Hello, Woo. I will be with you in just 1 minute. Hello, Mora. Is it hot again? Give me just 1 second, guys. I need to check on something. Yeah, are the tree people here? Oh, okay. I thought I heard her barking, so I thought maybe it was them. Alright, well, I'm going to be online, so if they come, I can stop if I need to be there to do anything, but I'm just letting you know. Just let me know if they come, if I need to be there for anything or whatever. But if I, that's fine. I don't care. If I need to drag the stuff out, please let me know. I don't want them charging us money. I can do it. It won't take me long. 15 minutes. And if Alex can get up, then I can do it in 5. All right. All right, bye. Sorry about that. All right, let me check on my settings here. Looks good. All right. How are you, Belen, other than hot? Hello, Noradine. Hello, Alexa. Alexa, did you know that your name is uniquely popular in the United States? You're taking care of 4 kids today. Who are the other 2? I'm drinking iced coffee. Alexa, yes, your name. So, Amazon, the company, they have a device that's called Alexa. And so I have one actually right here, but I changed the name of mine to Computer. So, let's see, I don't know if it'll work or not. Let's see, Computer, tell me what's the temperature outside.
Good morning, Mark. Right now, it's 75 degrees Fahrenheit. Today, expect a high of 84 degrees.
I don't know if you can hear
By
that.
the way, I can now notify you of breaking news updates.
Okay,
Would you
Computer,
like that?
stop. So I call mine Computer, but most people, it's named Alexa. And so if you go to someone's house and they have one of these things here, then every time they say your name, it's going to trigger the device. So it's kind of funny. That's complicated, isn't it? It's just like I have to be careful when I use the word computer because that's my trigger word. So sometimes when it hears the word, it thinks I'm talking to it when I'm not. Yeah. Anyway. Hello, Giuseppe. And hello, Jack. Hello to all the new people. Okay, so let's see. Today, what are we doing today, everybody? We are doing Teacher Mark's chat room, and we're going to talk about motivation. So let's take a look at what we are doing today. Here is the topic for today. The topic is motivation. Motivation, yes. And so we have a few questions, right? And why are we talking about motivation? Well, we're talking about motivation, one, because it's good to talk about things like this, but two, also because it's a chance for you to practice your English. So you should try to give the best answers that you can. Be proud of the English that you use. Okay? So here are the 4 questions that we're talking about today. Question number 1 is, what is motivation? And is it important? Is motivation important? What is motivation? And is motivation important? Question number 2 is, does motivation affect learning? Does motivation affect learning? Question number 3 is, how do you motivate yourself? And question number 4 is, do you feel motivated when you're learning something new? Okay, so let's start with question number 1. And question number 1 is, what is motivation? So what is it? And is it important? That's question number 1. What is motivation? And is motivation important? So, tell me, what is motivation? And is it important or not? Ezra says motivation is feeling enthusiastic. That's good, yeah. Right? Motivation is a burning desire. Okay, motivation is a burning desire. Motivation is a feeling of encouragement, Anne says. A feeling of encouragement, okay? Motivation is the fuel to keep you going. The fuel to keep you going. And motivation is something that drives you to do something. You could say, Marcelina, if you want to use the word impulse, you can say motivation is something that gives you the impulse to do something. An impulse is something that you have to get. You get an impulse, or someone gives you an impulse. Okay? I had an impulse, I got an impulse, okay? So you have to use a word with that, all right? All right, Nina says motivation helps in the desire to learn more, okay? Motivation can be anything that helps you keep going on, okay? Yeah, motivation is anything that can help you keep going on, right? Yeah, let's see. It's excitement about something, Nordine says. It's excitement about something, like an artist that's never happy with his environment because he needs more. Okay. All right. Okay, good. So, is motivation important? Is motivation important? Mora has a question. She wants to know what's the difference between intrinsic and extrinsic motivation. We will talk about that. Let's come back to that question in a few minutes. Okay? I will explain what the difference is. Ezra says, for me, motivation is important, of course, but it's not supposed to be the only thing that moves you because it doesn't always exist. That's a very good answer. That's very astute. Motivation is something that's always best if you have it, it's best, but you don't always have it. That's when you need discipline. Or sometimes it's not about discipline, and sometimes it's not about motivation. Sometimes it's about responsibility, right? Like, for example, there are some people who work at their job and they don't even like their job. They don't like it at all, but they do it every day. What's their motivation? Maybe they have kids and they have a family and they have to pay for food and a house, and that's motivation, right? But it's a different kind of motivation. That's like you hate your job. You're not motivated by it, but you have a responsibility, a sense of personal responsibility about who you need to take care of. That's a different form of motivation, right? Their motivation is money, but then beyond that, Tanya, their motivation, why do they want the money? Would they still want the money if they didn't have kids? You know, like, maybe their motivation is not really the money, their motivation is taking care of their family. And money is required, right? So sometimes you don't really have a choice. That's right. However, it's very important to remember that motivation is something that you can get, something that can be, it can be gotten. And if you can get it, it will give you more energy to want to get through things. Okay, so motivation is critically important. Okay, what I tell people is anybody can climb a mountain, but you'll climb that mountain better if you have a good reason. Okay? Excuse me. Are motivation and inspiration the same thing? In some ways, yes, and in some ways, no. To be inspired is to feel a sense of well, let's look at that word. Let's take a look at that word. Inspire. The word inspire comes from the French word inspirer and the Latin word inspirare, meaning to blow into or breathe upon. So, they are very similar, but I don't think they're quite the same. And I think if you pay attention to the original meaning, it might help you understand the slight difference. Motivation means motive, meaning to move, something that moves you. Inspiration is something that gives you breath. It gives you fire or breath, okay? Slight difference, but they are often used interchangeably, okay? But I think it's good, you know, you have to understand the nuance in language, and nuance is about understanding of like a picture in your mind. And the picture I see for motivation and inspiration is different in my mind. When I think of motivation, I think of someone pushing me. When I think of inspiration, I think of a sense of life inside that wants to come out. That's different than just being pushed. All right, let's see. Let's see. Marshmallow says, I struggle to engage in fun and well, Marshmallow, right now we're talking about motivation. But I think that maybe you are judging yourself unfairly. You think that, but maybe that's not what everybody else thinks. Maybe that's just what you think. So don't. Marshmallow, you have to be a fan of yourself. So, what I would say is if the people who are around you don't appreciate you, find people who do, right? If I play jazz music at a rock show, people won't like it. So I don't play jazz music at a rock show. But if I play jazz music at a jazz show, people will like it. So I go there. Right? So I don't need, there's no problem. I'm just playing the wrong music for the wrong people. Right? Okay, so inspiration is someone lighting in my head, right? It's like something inside of you, like in your mind, in your heart, or something. Motivation is more of just a sense of a good reason to do something, right? Inspiration is more like my heroes inspire me. They make me want to do that, right? Like I had a great teacher, and I want to be as great as he was, right? So that's inspiration. Motivation is, well, if I do this, then I'll get this. If I do this, then I'll have this. If I do this, then these things will be better. That's different. Do you understand? Okay? I inspired you to buy drums? Okay, cool. Can you say that inspiration relates to enthusiasm? You can. Yeah, enthusiasm is a feeling of how much you enjoy doing something, right? Let's look at that word. Enthusiasm, from the late Latin enthusiasm, no? Enthusiasmus. From the Greek enthusiasmos, meaning divine inspiration. Ooh, so enthusiasm, the original meaning of enthusiasm is actually to be inspired or possessed by a god. That's interesting. Uh, the letters en means in, and the thus is actually from the word theos, theos, meaning God. So the word enthusiasm actually means in God. The God inside that is making you do something. Isn't that funny? But in the modern sense, the word enthusiasm means your feeling of enjoyment about doing something. So if you have enthusiasm to do something, it means I feel like I like this. I want to do this thing. Right? You're enthusiastic because you enjoy it. Okay? But enthusiasm, in my opinion, always has to be something that is enjoyed. So it's different than motivation, because motivation doesn't have to be enjoyed. People are motivated to do lots of things that they don't enjoy. How do you find the right people? That's a good question. Well, the first thing is you can't find something if you aren't looking. So my question to you would be, are you looking? Because if you say I can't find any friends, but you're not looking, then you're not looking. Right? So, first look, and then everything else will take care of itself. The Be authentic. Be authentic. Be yourself. Shakespeare said in Hamlet, "This above all, to thine own self be true." This above all, to thine own self be true. It means be true to yourself. And when you are, you will find people who like that. You will find people who like your music. That's your audience. Okay? To thine own self be true. Those are some of my favorite words. It's one of my favorite quotes. Okay, now let's get back to motivation. We're talking about motivation today, right? So we were talking about what is motivation and is it important? Let's go to our next question. And our next question is, does motivation affect learning? Does motivation affect learning? Does motivation affect learning? Uh, 1J says yes, and Ahmed says no. Okay, now, in life, there are no yes or no questions. There are always reasons why. So tell me what the reason why is. You can't just say no. You have to say no because blah, 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 blah. Okay? So, does motivation affect learning? Kira says, yes, in some ways you need to have a motive to start doing something. Okay? Noradine says, you need to have some issues to keep the motivation to learn something new. Okay, yeah. It's easy to study when you have motivation. Okay, good, Dina. You believe that that's what makes a huge difference between one teacher and another. You mean whether the teacher can motivate you? Because if you have motivation, you will know your goal. Yeah. Motivated people work harder. That's true. Yeah. Do you know where we get the word music? Do you know where we get the word music? And the word genius? The word music comes from the Greeks believed in something called the Muses. And the Muses were basically spirits that would inspire you to do things. So, a muse was something that inspired you to want to do something artistic or creative. Okay? And that's where we get the word music. Genius. Genius comes from the word genie. Because what is a genie? Do you guys know what a genie is? What's a genie? This is a very interesting story about this word. The word genius, it means gifted person now, but the original meaning of the word genius comes from the Greeks who believed that great ideas were given to you by a spirit, by a ghost, by a some kind of a creature that would inspire you, an angel, something that would inspire you, right? They would put the inspiration into you. So, here's what happened. The word, do you guys know, for all of my Arabic speakers, do you know the word jinn? Jinn, which is sometimes spelled this way, I believe, and sometimes spelled this way, I believe. What is a jinn, Mora? What is a jinn? Yeah, it's like a magical creature that can give you wishes, right? It's a kind of like magical, spiritual, whatever, some kind of a magical being or a demon or something, right? Yeah, okay. So, the book Arabian Nights. Do you guys know the story Arabian Nights? Not the book, the story Arabian Nights. Somebody was translating the story Arabian Nights into French. And when they translated the words into French, the word jinn came. And they didn't know how to translate it. And they thought it sounded similar. It was a similar idea to the Greeks. It was a similar idea to the Greeks, that the Greeks had this idea that a spirit would give you inspiration, right? So the word genie and the word genius are related because it's like a magical being that gave you that idea, that genius. Right, like the blue djinn from Aladdin. That's right. Yeah. So that's the idea of genius. It also comes from this idea that something inspired you, right? So my point is just that we have been thinking about motivation and inspiration for a long time. The Greeks were thinking about it. And the word genius comes from the idea of gene. Actually, the word genius is also related to the French word ingénieux. Ingénieux means clever. Ingénieux means clever. And there's a story behind that goes farther back. Do you know what an engineer is? What is an engineer? Rayanne, the word gene is related to the words we're talking about. All of these words are related to the same root word. Okay? Yeah. An engineer, what is an engineer? Now, when we think of the word engineer, we think of someone who designs things somehow for building, construction of some kind. Railroad engineer, or a building engineer, or a bridge engineer, or a structural engineer, right? So that's what we think of now. But the original word engineer, it was the word that was used to talk about somebody that made machines for war. War machines. Fighting machines. Okay? And so their job was to think about, what can I build to fight better? That's what their job was. Now, the first time that happened, the first time that somebody built something and they brought it onto the battlefield to fight, right? So for a long time, they just had soldiers against soldiers, men against men, just fighting, right? That's how they used to do it. But one day, somebody came to the battlefield and they brought some big machine that's supposed to help them fight. And it was called a war engine. The word engine started as a word to describe something built for war. Okay? And the first time they saw it, they saw it on the battlefield and they said, "Oh, look at that. Wow. Look what they did. That's clever. Look what they made. That's so clever. What they made is clever." So the word genius also comes from the word engine, which is related to the word engine. Because what is an engine? It's a clever machine. It's a clever machine. Yeah, isn't that interesting? Yeah, that's right. Catapults and the machines that would throw rocks and shoot arrows and knock down buildings, those were war engines. Yeah, genius, engine, engineer, all related. As is the word gene. Yeah, the word gene is also related in there too. It goes back earlier. But that's a little bit more complicated to explain. Okay, let's get back to motivation. So we're talking about motivation doesn't affect learning, right? And it does affect learning because motivation, and the other word we were talking about earlier, inspiration. If you have both of those things, then you will do well. If you have both motivation and inspiration, almost nothing can stop you. Okay, but they are two different things. Inspiration is a feeling that you want to do something because someone else did something, or it's possible to do something, right? Motivation is just there's a reason to do it that makes this plus this equals this. Motivation is like math. It's like assessment of value. Inspiration is not about value. It's about desire and passion. Right? So that's the difference between motivation and inspiration. And hello to the new people. Omar says, I think we all need internal motivation, but it varies from person to person if the motivation is external. Yeah, that's true. And every circumstance, everything you do has a different level of motivation and inspiration. It depends on you, you know? But inspiration is also very important. Motivation can be positive or negative. Meaning negative motivation would just be like money, right? Like we don't, why do you do it? You do it because you have to, not because you want to necessarily. Okay? We all, if we didn't need money, we wouldn't go get money. That's the point, right? So it's the need. That's the reason we do it. It's not because we want it or like it or love it. It's because we need it. That's nobody actually loves money. People love the things that you can get with money. That's different, right? Yeah. So, and somebody earlier, who was it? Mora, I think, was talking about intrinsic or extrinsic motivation. Intrinsic means inside, internal, okay? And extrinsic means outward, outside, from outside, okay? In means in, X means out. Okay? So, yeah, you have a combination of both of these things, always. There are always internal motivations and external motivations. You know? Yes, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step. That's true. Yeah. That's why I love quotes. That's why I love quotes, because quotes are both inspiring and motivating. Sometimes a quote can inspire you and it can motivate you to make you feel like you want to do that too, right? Quotes are great. Which one is more important? I don't think there's a... I don't think that's a valid question. There are some times when things cannot be compared for importance. They have equal importance. I think that it's almost like both, they're two sides of the same coin. Okay, so one side of the coin is inspiration and the other side of the coin is motivation. Okay? You can't have half a coin. Okay? What if you only have extrinsic motivation? Well, that happens. Then that's when you need discipline. That's when you need discipline, and that's when you need to understand what's important to you, what matters to you, right? Again, many people have jobs they don't like at all, but they have to do them because they love their family and they need money for their family. So they hate their job, but they do it. That's extrinsic motivation. That's extrinsic motivation. Yeah, many, many, many people are like that. Um, but there are many people who have intrinsic motivation, but they struggle more, right? So sometimes extrinsic motivation has more real world value than intrinsic motivation. Sometimes. Sometimes. Yeah, just to make a living. Yeah. But here's the thing that's really important to remember. Every job in the world is done better if you care. It doesn't matter what job it is. If you care, you will do that job better. So we should encourage more people to try to do work that they care about. The world will be 100% a better place if more people actually care about what they do. Isn't that a weird thing to say? It's funny that I have to say that at all. It seems like it should be normal and natural to say that you should like what you do. Is that a radical statement? You should like what you do in a perfect world. And I am hopeful that this is what is coming in the future. I have news for you. Guess what? This has been something I've been thinking about a lot recently. We're a little off topic, but it's okay. AI is coming. It's here. AI is here. And AI is going to replace a lot of jobs. And here's the thing that's going to happen. There will be many, many results, many consequences of AI replacing jobs. But one consequence of AI replacing jobs is that many people right now walk around with a sense of pride about working really hard at a job that they hate. And that is not a good thing. I understand that you feel it's good. Right now, the circumstances are that you have to feel it's good. But the circumstances are about to change. And some of you, the jobs that you've been doing for many, many years that you feel so, well, it's so part of your character, those jobs are going to be gone soon. So you're going to have to figure out a new way to define your character. And that's not a bad thing. That's not a bad thing. It is my hope that perhaps AI might be able to bring a new era, a time when people can focus on doing the things they actually like. How crazy would that be if humans actually tried to focus on things they like to do and that they care about? And I know some people will say, well, that's silly because then everybody's just going to do fun things. I don't think so. There are 8 billion people on this earth, and one thing that I have come to learn is that there is an interest for every person. The thing that you think is stupid and boring, somebody else, that's their entire passion in life. There is somebody who loves the thing that you hate and hates the thing that you love. So I think that if AI replaces a lot of jobs that you hate, that's a good thing. And then you can find the job that you actually like. You can find the thing that you like. Job, the word job, I'm hoping might actually, we may not have that word anymore. Just like the word slave. We don't really use that word anymore, do we? Not in any real sense. You know? or not hopefully not, right? There it does exist in some places in the world, sadly. But on the whole, we don't talk about slaves anymore because that's not something that we do. That's not something we approve of anymore, right? Well, I'm hoping that in 500 years, maybe 100 years, that we'll think about jobs the same way. People will think, wait a minute, wait. You're telling me that there was a time when people actually did stuff that they don't like? Like, why? Why would they do it? If you don't like it, why did you do it? I think they will look back and think about that, you know? So we'll see. There are always things in life that you must do that you don't want to do. That is a truth, okay? Yes, let's be clear. In life, you cannot go through life without doing some things that you don't like. But shouldn't you try to do the things you do like? Just on a basic level? Shouldn't you always try to make it something that you like? That's why when we do something new and maybe we don't really like it right away, we try to find a reason to like it. We learn about it more. We try to find, maybe somebody who does it well to inspire you, right? Right? So maybe you're learning how to cook. And you don't really cook well and you're not very good at it, but you want to be. So you try to find a reason to be inspired and motivated, right? So the point is, you should always try to make it something you like, because if you like it, you'll do it better. It's a very simple truth. One J says, but the real world is not that kind of ideal. Right now, 1J, that's true. But change is coming, and it's coming fast, 1J. In 100 years, about half the jobs that you have right now, no more. At least half the jobs, 50%. Whoever's here, there are 96 people here. So at least half of those people, whatever they're doing, is going to be AI. Okay? I'm a teacher also. Will AI replace your job? Yes and no. Yes and no. AI will absolutely replace some teaching on some level, and good. It should, because there are many teachers who shouldn't be teachers. Teaching is a job that should not be done by anyone who doesn't care. But there are millions of teachers who don't really care. They don't really care about teaching. That is not good. They should be replaced. They absolutely should be replaced. Now, the other teachers, that's the beauty of the word inspiration. To inspire is something human. So, am I worried about AI replacing me? I'm not. I'm not, because I think I can inspire people better than AI. So if you think that you can inspire people better than AI, then you'll be fine. But if not, then you should be replaced. You know? I'm glad that you're the responsible kind of teacher. Good. Society doesn't always encourage or appreciate some jobs like teachers, artists, musicians. It's hard not to care about money. I know, Kira. That's my entire life. I don't really care about money. It's actually kind of a problem for me, but it's the reason that I am the way I am. I have never done anything for the money. I do everything that I do because I like it. I I am passionate about it. I follow my passions. And you're right. As a teacher, even though I'm a passionate teacher, I am appreciated, but I'm not appreciated. As an artist and musician, I am appreciated, but I'm not appreciated. You know? One J says, it's a pity I can't follow my passion. Well, life's not over yet. Life's not over yet. And everybody has more than one passion. The problem is most people don't even look for the first one. But you have more than one. The beauty of humanity is that we are curious. We are curious about many, many things. That means we have the potential to have passion about many, many things. So don't limit yourself by saying, I only like this thing. No, you can like a lot of different things. Okay? You always say to your wife, is there a shortage of teachers? No problem. One good teacher will provide for the entire country and all students will be given gadgets to listen to him and study. That's already kind of happened, Vadim. For example, Khan Academy. Do you guys know about Khan Academy? Have you ever looked at Khan Academy before? Never seen or heard. Khan Academy, Vadim. A guy named Salman Khan, he created a organization called Khan Academy, and it is a free world-class education to anyone, anywhere. And they have courses for almost anything. And his courses are brilliant. They are really, really well explained. It's really amazing. Yeah, you should check it out, Vadim. Yeah. Khan Academy. Brilliant. Really brilliant. They have math and science and history and philosophy and any class that you can imagine. It's on there. And it's free. Khan Academy. Check it out. So there you go. There's your idea about one teacher who everybody will watch. That already happens now, you know? And that's kind of what now I'm doing, right? With you build followers, right? And you're trying to get people to follow you because, well, I'm not trying to get anyone to follow me. I just hope you do. I just hope you like what I do and want to, you know? Can I type the organization name? Yes. K-A-H-N, Khan Academy. Or no, sorry, K-H-A-N. There it is, Khan Academy. Your kids use it? Yeah, they should. Yeah, khanacademy.org. That's right. Yeah. It's really brilliant. The guy's name is Salman Khan, and he was born in America, but his parents are from Calcutta, India. And if I remember right, he started with just math courses, that he was teaching videos with math courses, and everybody thought they were brilliant. So then he started a system of making classes for anything, for anyone, and making it free. Yeah, it's great. Khan Academy. Yeah, it's amazing. And Harvard University now. You can study at Harvard online. They have free courses from Harvard. It's amazing, you know? Okay, let's get back to talking about motivation, right? We're talking about motivation, we're talking about inspiration, we're talking about why motivation is important, we're talking about what motivation is, we're talking about how motivation affects learning. So we're trying to get you to understand how important motivation is. Okay? We didn't lose our topic. No, we're still talking about inspiration, motivation. Those are all related. And by the way, a chat is supposed to go places. And it's okay if it goes off the road a little bit. You can come back to the road. It's all right. Conversations are more interesting when they don't just go straight. All right? So, the next question is, here is the next question. How do you motivate yourself? How do you motivate yourself? What do you do to motivate yourself? By eating chocolate? Okay. Interesting. Money, Norman. Is that money, I think? Is that your only motivation, Norman? I hope not. Come on, Norman. Money is such a shallow motivation. That's my only problem. It's just such a shallow motivation, you know? Motivations, the deeper the motivation, the more powerful it is. So the only way to make money more motivating is to make money more. Money itself doesn't become more motivating. A dollar is only a dollar. Right? But when it's not about money, it's about personal sense. Your sense of value can increase. Right? You can train yourself to like things. You can train yourself to enjoy things. You can train yourself to learn more and to find more interest. You could meet someone who inspires you and makes you think about what you do in a completely different way. Right? How do you motivate yourself? How do you motivate yourself? How do you motivate yourself? For me, again, I always like to think about the allegory of the mountain. Think about a mountain, okay? And what I say is, anyone can climb a mountain, but anyone will climb that mountain better if they have a good reason. So if you just say, I want to climb this mountain, great. But what if your daughter is trapped on the top of the mountain? What if when you get to the top of the mountain, you get to meet your best friend who you haven't seen in 30 years? What if when you get to the top of the mountain, you now have a new possibility for a job? So, anybody can climb a mountain, but if you have a good reason, you're going to climb it better. Thomas, don't start with that, Thomas. I hope that's a joke. It wasn't good if it was a joke. Nobody was talking about politics. Nobody was talking about politics here. I don't know why you had to bring that in. You're lucky I don't kick you out. Okay, let's get back to it. Okay, let's see. What's the other comments here? Norman says, by looking at myself after 3 or 4 years from now, and what I'm doing now will help me to be a better person. Right, so you imagine how the things you do now will benefit you in the future, right? That's personal investment, investment in self. And another thing that I like to call character development. That's what I call it. I call it character development. It's a very simple concept that we know very well. If you've ever played a video game, then you probably understand the idea of developing your character, right? You choose a character, and somehow you need to develop that character to make them better, right? So you give them more skills, you give them better equipment, you develop their intelligence, their wisdom, their dexterity, whatever. You develop their skills and their abilities, right? That's what you should do as a person too, not just in a video game. Yeah, so the things you do now will benefit you in the future. That's called character development. Develop your character. If you're not wise, make yourself wise. If you're not intelligent, make yourself intelligent. Yeah, get to be the best version of yourself. And you should think about these things just from a standpoint of like, am I fast? No, I'm not fast. Am I strong? Yes or no. Am I smart? Yes or no. And you can be honest about it, okay? You can be honest about it in a way that benefits you. Don't be deliberately down on yourself, but be honest. If you can't assess your character honestly, then you can't develop your character at all. So the first step to developing your character is understanding what you're good at and what you're not good at, what you're lacking and what you have more of, right? So, motivation, everybody. Motivation, that's what we're talking about. Like Norman said, many of the things that you do now are things that you do now because you know they will benefit you in the future. Right? Why do you go to the gym? Right? But the world would be a better place if people didn't only think about how they're working on their body. They should also think about how they're working on their mind and how they're working on their spirit and how they're working on their general sense of knowledge and how they're working on their sense of art or history or science or music or culture. Those are all part of character development. And we should all be thinking about every aspect of character development. And that's part of how you motivate yourself, by developing your character to get to the best version of yourself. That's exactly right. You are welcome, Jesse. Mora says, what did you study, Mark? What makes you who you are now? How did you develop your character? Mora, I have studied many, many things over a lot of time. I have studied anything that I've ever been curious about. So, a lot of history, a lot of um, culture, art, science, some, philosophy, a lot. But most importantly, um, curiosity. Curiosity. That's what I studied. Study curiosity, and you'll be fine. 1J says, still a lot of people don't have that kind of ambition. 1J, let me ask you a question. Do fires usually start by themselves? No, fires don't start by themselves. Not usually. Okay, lightning maybe, like there are some circumstances where fire could happen, but usually when fire starts, it's because someone started it, right? So, the same thing is true with ambition and motivation and inspiration. Sometimes it just happens naturally, like a forest fire. But usually it requires somebody to get off their butt and do something. And have you ever tried to make a fire? Who here has ever tried to make a fire without any matches or a lighter or anything? Have you ever tried to make a fire without any modern tools? If you have tried to make a fire without any modern tools, then you know it's very difficult. It's really hard. It's not an easy thing to do. It takes a good amount of effort if you've ever tried to do it. It's very difficult. Yeah, that's right. And most people give up. Well, guess what? The same thing is true about the fire of ambition. It's very difficult and most people give up. Same exact thing. Ambition is a fire that requires you to have the focus and discipline to sit down and make it start. But not everybody has that. Not everybody has that. Yeah. Yeah, with sticks. Yeah, that's how I do it too. And it's hard. Man, your arms are so tired after that. Ambition needs motivation. Well, that's what we're talking about, 1J. We're talking about the philosophy of motivation and ambition and inspiration and where all of these things meet. That's what we're talking about. And if you think about these things more, they can help each other. Meaning, when you don't have inspiration, you can have motivation. When you don't have motivation, you can have ambition. When you don't have ambition, you can have inspiration. You see how that goes? If you don't have ambition, all right, try to find some inspiration or motivation. If you don't have motivation, try to find some ambition or inspiration. Okay? Mindset is important. All right? All right, let's see. We have one final question here for today. One final question. Let's look at our final question for today. The final topic question is, do you feel motivated when you are learning something new? Do you feel motivated when you are learning something new? Miss Jenny says yes. Belen says yes. Norman says 100%. Zoe says a little bit. Oh, thank you, Lynn. Rayan says, of course you feel motivated when you're learning new things. Morris says, hyper-focused mood will kick in immediately. Okay, wait a minute. Okay, everybody's saying yes. But let me ask the question a different way. Let me think. Do you know about advanced accounting for financial firms? Do you know about advanced accounting for financial firms? So that would be something new. Now, do you want to learn about it? Do you want to learn about accounting, advanced accounting for financial firms? Ah, see, look now. Oh, look, see, somebody said that's my major. That's funny. But the point is, I tried to find something boring, right? Because you all said, yes, when it's new, I want to do it. It's new. But it's not always. It depends on still if you find interest in it. Now, let me change that question again, though. Wait. What if I told you that you're going to learn advanced accounting for financial institutions from Warren Buffett? Do you know who Warren Buffett is? Vadim, he's one of the richest men in the world, and he's considered a very, very, very wise man about finances. So, if I said, do you want to learn about this boring topic from the most interesting guy in the world about that topic, would you want to learn from Warren Buffett? Yes. So look, this is what's so important to think about. The topic that you're learning could be a very boring topic, really boring. But if you find the right person, you might want to learn. Right? And some things, when they're new, they're interesting. Sure, lots of things that are new are interesting, but not everything. Not everything that's new is interesting. Right? So this is why it's important to understand, what can you do? If you need to learn something that's not interesting, can you motivate yourself? There are ways to motivate yourself. What does this thing get you? When you finish this thing, what do you gain? What value does it have for your life? What does it do for you? Think about that. When I do this, I get this. There's motivation. Or, if you can't find that, maybe you work at a new company and then you have a new job and you hate this job. You hate it. You don't like this job at all. But you know there's somebody at the company, she's been working, doing that job for 30 years, and she loves that job. Don't you think that if you talk to her about the job, maybe you might get some inspiration? Right? So, when you need to do something, especially with learning, motivation is important, inspiration is important, ambition is important. All of those things are important. But they're all just different ways of looking at the idea of moving forward. What is pulling you or pushing you forward? That's the whole point. It doesn't matter what pushes you forward, as long as it's pushing you forward. Okay? But why, after a while, do you lose interest, Morris says? Because humans naturally want to learn more new things. Boredom is part of evolution. When you're bored, you go try new things. Trying new things leads to new ideas. New ideas leads to new everything. So boredom is when you feel bored, you decide to go do something. Usually. Most people don't like to be bored for very long. They want to find something to do. Right? So, it's natural to lose interest after a while. But that's why it's so important to remember that these things, passions are fires, and you have to keep the fire burning. And there are many ways to keep the fire burning. Right? So every passion you have is a fire. You have to keep that fire burning somehow. Inspiration, motivation, those are two good ways to do it. All right? And you can balance between these things. When you don't have motivation, find inspiration. When you don't have inspiration, find motivation. Okay? When I have to learn something hard or boring, I believe that it helps my brain stay healthy. That motivates me. Yeah, that's a simple matter of rational logic. I don't like this, but I know it's good for me, so I'm going to do it. Passion or enjoyment? Well, enjoyment is not quite the same thing as passion. You can enjoy something without being passionate about it. But what builds our ambition? Curiosity. Curiosity is the fuel. Curiosity is the smoke of passion. If you want to find your passion, passion is fire, right? When we think of passion, we think of fire. That's my fire. I have fire for this. I have passion for it, right? Fire has smoke, right? The smoke, if fire is passion, the smoke is curiosity. And how do you find somebody who has a fire? If you say somebody out there has a fire, there's a fire out there somewhere. How do I find it? There is a fire out there somewhere. How do I find it? I smell smoke. I smell smoke. That's curiosity, everybody. Curiosity is your brain looking for the smoke. That's what curiosity is. It's your brain looking for the smoke. Okay? Follow your curiosity and you will find the fire. Okay? Consistency is hard in general. Yeah, it is. Yeah. Norman. Consistency is something that is uniquely interesting about humans. We develop behaviors that we try to maintain, but we're creatures of habit. That's what we say. Humans are creatures of habit, but all habits become tiresome. And so we lose consistency, you know? Leah, I see your question, and it's a good question, but you need to come back and listen to me tomorrow. Or maybe, yeah, I think tomorrow will be fine. Right now we're talking about motivation, okay? Or, Leah, you can go watch some of my videos. I have answered that question at least 1,000 times. I've answered that question that you have, Leah. And you can find it on any one of my videos if you go to my YouTube, okay? Alicia says, I know learning is important, but I just don't like learning. So, Alicia, let me change the way you think about learning. Let me change the way you think about learning. And what about reading? How many of you guys like reading? Belen likes reading, Norman likes reading, Maura likes reading, Sarah likes reading, Darsh likes reading. Mine doesn't like reading. Okay, anybody else? Does anybody else not like reading? Cabot doesn't like reading. Tanya doesn't loves reading, but not in English. Okay, so there are some people who don't like reading, and there are some people who don't like learning. Now let me ask you another question. If you can't read, you're not able to read. Is that bad? Is it bad if you're not able to read? Yeah, it's pretty bad. We all think that it would be bad. If we can't read, that's bad, right? So now let me ask you one more question. What's the difference between someone who can't read and someone who doesn't want to read? Nothing. So if you say you don't like reading, that's pretty much like saying I don't know how to read. It's no different. Yeah, you never thought about it that way, did you? You never thought about it that way, but it's true. There is no difference between someone who can learn and someone who can't read and someone who doesn't read. There is no difference between someone who can't learn and someone who doesn't learn. It is not different. The results are the same. The results are the same. This boy can't learn. This boy doesn't want to learn. They both don't learn. The result is the same. So it doesn't matter what the reason is if the result is the same. And I also want you to remember that reading is actually the number one technology that we have on this planet. Reading is a better technology than AI. Reading is a better technology than computers. When I read, I can read the philosophy of Plato, and it's like I'm reading his thoughts from 2,000 years ago. It's like a time machine. I can go back and understand what people thought, what people felt, what people did. Reading can take you to another planet. It can take you to another world. It can make you rethink things that you thought were true. Anybody who says, I don't like to read, here is my answer to you. That's like telling me you don't like music. If you tell me you don't like music, I'm going to tell you you have not listened to enough music. There is no way, it is not possible. It is not possible to not like music. Now, what I mean is, you might not like this music, you might not like that music, but you like some music. Some music, when you hear it, it makes you feel something. There is not one human being that is not inspired by some music. Muhammad, if you say I don't like it, then I'm telling you, you haven't heard enough. You haven't heard enough. All right? Javier, no stage time today. Not today. Okay? So, the mic is so close, it's supposed to be this close. This is exactly how close you're supposed to be to a microphone. I am a musician. I know. So, that's going to be it for today, everybody. We had a nice chat. We talked about motivation today, right? So here, let's look at our topic one more time. Let's review. Today we talked about motivation, and inspiration. So we talked about what is motivation and is motivation important. We talked about does motivation affect your learning, and how do you motivate yourself? And we also asked, do you feel motivated when you're learning new things? So we were talking about many, many ideas today, and we used English to talk about them, so that was good, right? Yeah. Now, can I change the subject? I can, but I'm not going to. Do you know why? Because I am the teacher, and you are the student. And the student does not tell the teacher what to teach. That's number one. Number two is, if you just showed up, okay, nice to see you, thank you for coming, but guess what? I have been on Hello Talk for more than 11 years. I have done more than 2,000 hours of live streams on Hello Talk. So, you're new, but I'm not. So come back and follow me again. 82,000 people follow me on Hello Talk. 82,000. And they follow me, why? Because I do teach English. But if you want to learn English from me, then you have to listen to me. All right? So just show up, check out my classes. I teach about reading, writing, listening, speaking, grammar, vocabulary, pronunciation, the history of words, confidence, accent. Okay? I teach about all those things. All right? But you have to be patient and willing to come and learn. All right. I need to go, but it was a pleasure to be here today, and I will see you guys next time. Thank you very much, Belen. Thank you to everybody here. It feels all chicken soup. I don't know what that means. You mean like chicken soup for the soul, like the books? I hope so. That's good. All right. I will see you guys next time. Have a good morning. Have a good afternoon. Have a good evening, wherever you live in the world. And I will see you guys tomorrow. You are welcome. Bye, everyone.